Hello everyone! Welcome back to Books, Animals, OCD. Today I want to talk about a few books that are graphic novels. Hey! And this graphic novel is one of my favorites of all the ones I've read, and I've read a lot because I went through a serious graphic novel craze for a while. But the book I want to talk about is called Zita the Spacegirl. It's by Ben Hotke, and it's a really fun book. He's written several different graphic novels. I have another one here. It's called Mighty Jack. But if you're picking between the two, I would say go for Zita the Spacegirl. I prefer it, although they're both really cool and have good art, but I think Zita the Spacegirl is a lot more fun and engaging and unique. There's 3 books in the trilogy so far. So there's Zita the Spacegirl, Legends of Zita, and another one called Return of Zita. Hey! Mighty Jack also has 3 books in the trilogy so far. There's one called Mighty Jack and the Goblin King. And then there's another book, the 3rd Mighty Jack, where he actually meets Zita the Spacegirl. Their worlds collide. they're in the same universe, and then they kind of somehow come together. So that's fun. But of all the graphic novels that I've read so far, my 2 favorites are Stargazing and Zita the Spacegirl. They're both 5 out of 5 stars for me. And the reason I like Zita so much is because she's a really lovable character. In the beginning of the book, she gets into some trouble because she's kind of picking on a friend, playfully, but he's not comfortable with it, and she's kind of doing things that are making him nervous, like she's kind of pushing the boundary, I guess, of what he's comfortable with and not. She's like, let's go do this, and he's like, no, don't do it, let's just stay safe, And so her teasing ends up getting him into some trouble. So she goes after him to rescue him, and she goes into this new world. She kind of goes out into this whole new world and universe that she explores. And the cool thing is that throughout the book, you notice her character development. She becomes, and maybe she was sort of like this, and she made a mistake with her friend. I don't know, but she just becomes a lot more compassionate. Throughout the book, she is seeing others that are in need, and she always stops to help them. She always gives them the benefit of the doubt and becomes a true friend to a lot of different individuals, and eventually, including the friend that she was picking on, she goes after to help him too. So she is a character that sets a good example of being kind and having courage and doing the harder thing, even when, it's a sacrifice for her, but she still goes to help someone else. And it's just a really, really fun, unique world. My 4-year-old boy really likes reading this with me. And obviously with graphic novels, I have to be careful to make sure that, if I need to skip pages or images for him, that might be too intense because he's only 4. But this one, he's pretty good. So far, we've read most of it. And the pictures, I'm going to find some good pages to share. They're just really unique. She meets all these really interesting different characters and makes friends with them. You can see there are some this is kind of the most intense or graphic that it gets, is this scene here. There's this little alien guy who takes apart a robot. So in this book there are some robots that get destroyed or things like that. But as far as content, that was kind of the more intense part. I kind of think there's also there's some scenes things like this that that doesn't bother my son, but it could be a lot for a sensitive little kid, but it's definitely great for 8 to 12-year-olds plus. And I think that this book to me was more approachable for my little kid than this one. I think this one had some more content things that I was I don't know, not bad, but things where there's giant plant monsters attacking, or they're slicing a big, huge monster to pieces that's like a plant, but it's still kind of more slicing living things versus Zita is more just robots that get injured and stuff. and it's done in like a pretty mild way. But anyways, Zita the Spacegirl is really fun. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really recommend it for anybody kind of getting into the world of graphic novels, or for younger readers that are reluctant readers. Like I think that any like 8 to 12-year-old reader would enjoy this. Most of them, you know. I mean, like, especially if they're a kid that isn't super into reading and they need kind of a gateway book, this would be a good book to get a kid into reading, so they'd be really excited about finishing it and finding out what happens. Thanks for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.